while we understand that Iran is hurting more, and Donald Trump has claimed that he has all the time in the world and the clock is ticking out for Iran. This is what he has categorically stated. But do you believe that to be the case? Because we understand his approval ratings have dipped significantly. We're talking about figures in the mid-30s. And of course, he's losing that domestic strength from where he might have started the war. But right now, it's at a very different place. Do you think that Washington can actually, it has the leverage to drag out this war without, the cost mounting at home as well?
Well, in a circumstance like this, we're also dealing with the personalities of the leaders in place. And again, the Iranian leadership presents itself as clear-headed and rational. And as I said, it pains me to say this, whereas Donald Trump is unbalanced and impulsive, and his own domestic political circumstance is fraught with pitfalls and difficulties. But he has to be, as a leader, we get back to the sort of makeup of the leader, he's going to have to be willing to admit defeat. He's going to have to be willing to admit that he hasn't achieved any of these many different objectives which he has articulated at various points in time over the last 6 weeks. And I'm not sure that's in his makeup. I'm not sure he's someone will ever admit, and this is not just in something so serious as a war, but it's any number of different things that are going on in his constellation of ideas. And we all, many of us, watching him, think of him, he's unbalanced and delusional. And again, we have the evidence of this is Kushner and Witkoff showing up. These are two people that, if I'm one of the Iranians, I would never sit around the table with these two guys who have shown themselves to be not credible and to have presented things in a false light. They have lied to the Iranians. And again, Donald Trump, the leader, doesn't seem to grasp any of this. It's shocking to sort of say this as an American, that we're led by someone who is unbalanced, and it's a very dangerous circumstance, because here we have another aircraft carrier, pulling up, off the coast of Oman, I suppose, and the war could restart, the bombing could restart at any moment. Of course, with, again, this interesting report in the New York Times today about the dip in American ammunition stocks to shockingly low levels. So how much longer can the United States, continue the war once the shooting starts again? So this is just an absolutely terrible circumstance that the United States finds itself in which President Trump is going to have to figure out a way to retreat and come up with the best deal that he can somehow. It's not a deal, it's an agreement that actually addresses the genuine Iranian grievances. And I wish I could say...
Professor Russell, these are the personalities we're dealing with at this point, at least for now. But having said that, what can we expect from these talks, and what kind of a role do you think Pakistan can, play to bring about a change, perhaps like from what we had seen the last time? Is there something that has materially changed enough to expect a different outcome this time around?
Well, the first thing to say is, from the American perspective, is that we have to sort of extend our thanks, our heartfelt thanks, to our friends in Pakistan that have made their good offices available and have done everything they can with the support of their allies and partners as well, to try to bring the parties together. So you have nothing but good things to say about the Pakistanis and trying to position themselves as peacemakers here. We can only hope, and again, I get back to this word hope, and I wish we had more than hope. I wish there were concrete plans in place to make these sort of complex issues be addressed in a constructive way by both parties, with both parties compromising, addressing each other's grievances. But from the American side, I don't see this happening. I think the fact that J.D. Vance is not on this mission that the Secretary of State mysteriously, again, the head U.S. diplomat, is not engaged. He's sitting in Washington, D.C., cooling his jets. It just seems to me that we are again dealing in a kind of charade that's been put on by the Americans. For what purpose, I can't imagine, and I don't know why. I wish, and I hope I'm wrong, fervently. I hope I am mistaken, and that this, again, consistent with your lead-in question, we all have to hope that momentum can be established between the warring parties to bring this conflict to a close in a way that, again, gets the world back to something like that which existed before the shooting started.
Absolutely, Professor Russell. And in modern conflict, how a war is told can matter almost as much as how it is fought. And right now, both Washington and Tehran are selling very different versions of reality. But of course, we'll have to wait and see where it goes from here. For now, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you, Diksha.